In this chapter, I would love to give you an outlook how to use the business model DNA and the planned activities to improve the metric values within a financial planning. So, what does this mean? Let's look at your business model DNA. That are the metrics representing exactly your business model mechanism. And some of the metrics have big impact on your goal. It might be getting profitable or strong growth. And everything you need to do, more or less, is you need to plan activities how to improve exactly the metric values which have a big impact on your goal. And how to do it is defined by planned activities, which are part of your marketing and sales strategy, your product release plan, your pricing models, and also to the related human resources you need to perform the activities over time. So now the idea is you have your business model DNA and you have the plans and the strategies how to improve these metric values within a specific period of time, let's say the next 3 to 5 years within your financial plan. And this kind of idea that you have the metrics DNA as well as the activities over time, this idea will be included in a financial plan. That means you use the metrics DNA within your financial plan to model your business model mechanism, and you use the activities to plan how to change the metric values based on things like you have marketing and sales channels, you have new product features, and so on and so forth. That means a classical financial planning shows normally the profit and loss calculation as well as the cash flow planning, but now it shows the same thing, but the calculation is based on exactly your business model as well as your activities you plan to change the metric values. What's the benefit of such a business model DNA-based financial plan? It is that you can better explain why you assume a specific amount of revenues and expenses and why the cash flow might look like in a specific chart of your financial plan. So it's about explaining and also integrating your business model mechanism to have a kind of a simulation tool for your specific business. And then you can start to play around with this simulation tool. Obviously, you can't forecast the future, but it gives you such a better idea what mechanism is working for your business model, how specific things are related, and so on and so forth. So let's look at this chart here. This is a very typical chart for cash flow planning. It shows the total cash flow of your company without financing activities. So usually this virtual bank account starts with zero balance, and then unfortunately you need to spend more money than you earn. That's why the bank account balance goes down over a long period of time. And then hopefully, if you want to get profitable, you reach the point where the customer acquisition costs go below the customer lifetime value, and this starts the opportunity that the chart might turn around. But if you reach that point, it takes some more months or years even that the margin you're earning per customer is covering the other operating expenses. If this happens, then you really reach the break even. This is when the blue line here, the cash flow, turns around. And then it goes up because you earn more than you spend. And now it is important to understand that the blue line here is based on the calculations with your business model DNA metrics. So remember this idea that you have this mix panel and each metric is kind of a slider and or trigger here. So imagine you start playing around with your metric values and then the blue chart will change. It maybe shows that you reach the break even, so profitability earlier or later. and or you need more money or less money, and or the growth rate might be steeper or higher or lower. That means this chart is showing you the financing needs as well as the time to break even as well as your growth rate based on the metric values of your business model DNA. And if you play around with them, it's the best way to figure out what metrics have big impact on your goals, which ones are not. So that means you can also play around with different scenarios here. Again, you can't forecast the future, but it's so important to figure out what options you have to change the values with what activities. And I would love to compare this with a navigation or GPS in a car. Let's imagine we start together to drive from a specific city A to city B. Then, if we enter the address of city B in the navigation system in the GPS, then there will be an estimated arrival time. And we all know the estimated arrival time is not the exact future. It's not 100% correct. But based on assumptions on metric values, which are the distance, the average speed, the traffic jam situation, and so on and so forth, based on these metrics and default values, what's the average speed, what's the average traffic jam situation, and so on, the estimated arrival time is calculated upfront before we start driving. In some newer GPS systems or navigation systems, there will be also the information how much energy we might use or how many liters of gasoline, for example. And you also know that before we start driving, we could check out different options of the track. Maybe we go via city C or via city D and so on and so forth. There might be different tracks. Each track is a scenario. Each track has its own estimated arrival time. So going back to our business model here in the financial plan, this is actually more or less the same. So the estimated arrival time is the time to break even. The energy consumption, the gasoline consumption is the financing needs, and the progress on the track, it's the growth rate. So, and the metrics are obviously not the distance from A to B, it's not the traffic jam situation or the distance or the average speed, it's more the metrics of your business model DNA. It might be things like the cost per click costs, it might be the conversion rate, it might be the product price, it might be the salary of your salespeople. And based on default values, industry benchmarks at the beginning, you estimate your arrival time, and then if you start driving with the car is measuring all the metric values, and based on the new information, the new estimated arrival time is calculated. Here, the same in your business model, based on updates on your metric values, because you measure them or you do better research, or you get new insights. Based on this new information, the cash flow is calculated again, and there will be a new estimated arrival time. And the same can be done with different scenarios in the financial plan case. So you can say what happens, for example, in scenario A, where you do the marketing yourself, scenario B, where you hire sales partners, and scenario C, where you implement or develop another product earlier, or whatever it might be. There will be for each scenario an estimated arrival time. Again, not forecasting the future, but giving you a better idea what might happen based on the current insights and assumptions. So this is a very helpful approach to convince yourself with a financial plan, but also to convince potential investors. That's why I highly recommend to use this technique within your financial plan.